Welcome to Stadium Medical Ambulance Fleet Awareness. Today we're going to talk about several different ambulances we have in this company and make you a little more aware of what they are and where they go. Thank you. As we look at our fleet, we're going to look at three different categories. We've broken them down into three. The ambulances 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, and 17 are all part of our regular fleet. The air suspension system includes ambulances 6, 14, 15, and 2. And then our bariatric unit is ambulance 10. Ambulances 1, 3, 5, and 17 are all alike. They are Ford transit vans on a 3/4 ton chassis where most of our vehicles are 1 ton and above. Each of these ambulances come in at a weight of about 9,000 pounds. As I said, they're all built on a 3/4 chassis. The fuel port is located on the driver's side behind the driver's door. Driver's door must be open to fuel intake, and they take unleaded fuel. Here you can see the fuel door, and then you see where the ambulance door is open, and you can see where the fuel spout is. Remember, these are unleaded fuel. As I said, they're identical. It's almost looking in a mirror. Ambulance 7 is the workhorse of our fleet. Pulls our trailer with the mule in it. It takes diesel fuel. Has a blue inflatable car seat. Remember, Ambulance 7 is diesel fuel. This is Ambulance 7. You can see that it has the draw hitch that the receiver that the hitch goes into. As you can see, there's really not a whole lot of room in these vehicles. You can see the front console where all of your lights and your siren are operated from. Ambulance 8, again, weight 9,500 pounds. It's got a yellow inflatable car seat that is under the bench seat. Takes unleaded fuel. I hate to repeat myself, but once again, unleaded fuel only. Ambulance 8 doesn't have a whole lot of room to work in, as you could see. You also see the front console where, again, the lights and the siren are. And you can see the area. You've got drink holders in this vehicle. Ambulance 8 and Ambulance 9 weigh about the same, about 9,500 pounds. They're use unleaded fuel. They have a green inflatable car seat. I sure do like repeating myself. Remember, unleaded fuel only. This is Ambulance 10. It comes in at 10,050 pounds. It's a diesel machine. It also has a yellow inflatable car seat, child seat, and it is also our bariatric unit. I point out again that this is a diesel unit. You must use diesel fuel. Ambulance 10 is a little larger than the 8 and 9 and 7. A little more room makes it a little easier to work. It has a lot more capacity. If you have to work a cardiac arrest or something, you have a little more room to get that done. Ambulance 11 also comes in at 10,500. It is a diesel unit, has an inflatable car seat, and it is affectionately called the Lodge. I'll give extra credit to anybody that comes up to me and tells me why it's called the Lodge. Once again, this vehicle has an inflatable car seat, and you see that the pram is center mounted, so you can use your CPR seat here if needed. Diesel fuel, diesel fuel. Here's Ambulance 11's front console. You can see all the switches in here. These are what used for your lights, your load lights. Siren is mounted right below this. Ambulance 12 comes in at 10,050 pounds, uses unleaded fuel, and it actually has a built-in car seat. Unleaded fuel only. This is the back of Ambulance 12. You can see where the arrow points is where the built-in child seat is. Just like Ambulance 12, 13 comes in at 10,050 pounds, takes unleaded fuel, and it also has a built-in car seat. By looking at this picture, it's really hard to see, but on ambulance 13, it does take unleaded fuel. However, it is a remount. Therefore, before it was a unleaded, it took diesel gasoline. That's why the filler is so large. The AC switch on the front runs opposite of all others on the control panel. Ambulance 16 comes in at 10,050 pounds, has a portable car seat. We affectionately call this a mini mod. Here's the console on ambulance 16. As you can see, it sits between the seats and not on the front of the doghouse. Hi, this is ambulance 17. Does it look familiar? Yeah, it looks like 1, 3, and 5. Once again, to fuel this vehicle, you have to open the driver's door to open the fuel door. This is ambulance 2. It's our largest vehicle in the fleet. Comes in at 19,000 pounds. Has a refrigerator in the back. It has a governor that won't allow you to go over 75 miles an hour. And it has an air ride system. And that air ride system, when you arrive at your destination or your pickup point, you will have to dump that system, dump that air out. And then before you leave, you must fill it again. It takes anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute for that to fill. I covered a lot of this in the previous slide. Again, weighs 19,000 pounds. It has a governor, air ride system. Air must be released to lower the unit, take your pram out. There's 2 switches. Remember to reset your air system. Driver's seat is also air controlled. Child seat is an infant inflatable seat. It takes diesel fuel. Just in case you're getting bored, I thought I'd tell you. It weighs in at 19,000 pounds, has a governor that controls the speed, and it's actually at 75. Ambulance 2, step 1, turn on the vehicle. Step 2, engage the parking brake. Step 3, make sure the correct console buttons are deployed. Make sure the dump system, suspension, switch to the bottom right of the steering column is deployed to suspension. Make sure that the PSI meter on the dash reads 120 or above before you drive. Do not change these settings. Note the air ride may take as much as 60 seconds to reach full height, and do not drive until the vehicle has finished lifting. Time on these next slides, so just kind of look at them and move on. Remember to engage the parking brake. Make sure the dump suspension switch to the bottom right of the steering wheel column is deployed to suspend. Air ride system switch number 2 on the control panel. Remember that 2 takes diesel fuel only. All right, this is ambulance number 6. We call it Roger's baby. Weighs in at 13,000 pounds. Carries 2 monitors, air ride system, air release inside passenger rear door, takes diesel fuel, and it has a built-in car seat. If you look at the arrows, the first 2 on the top show you where the release switch or to empty the system, and then the bottom arrow shows where the car seat is at. Just remember 2 monitors, air ride system, diesel fuel, and built-in car seat. Ambulance 14 and 15 weigh in about the same at 17,500. They both have built-in car seats and use diesel fuel. In this picture, you can see the air dump or air down and air up switch at the back of the vehicle. And ambulance 14, you see where the arrow's at. That's showing where the built-in child seat is. Ambulance 15 weighs in at 17,500 pounds. It is second in the fleet as far as weight-wise. 14 is tied with it. Diesel fuel, air ride, built-in child seat. You can see where the arrow is at. That's where the built-in car seat is at. Ambulance 14 and 15 are very similar in their air ride suspension. You'll see a dump switch on the back side on the passenger door. When you hit it and you have both doors open, it will lower the vehicle to the point where you can take the pram out. When you close those doors, it will re-inflate. And to get it to go back down, you have to put your key in the ignition, and you can start it or just turn it so that the vehicle will start the pump. Now we're going to talk about Stadium Medical's bariatric unit. I want to make sure that everybody thanks Michaela for putting this presentation together, and I just kind of copied it so that it was in this program. Bariatric ramp and winch instructions. Turn on the vehicle battery. Battery must be turned on for the winch to operate. Bariatric ramp and winch instructions. Step number 2. Turn on the remote. Within the yellow box of the ambulance, there's a remote that can be turned on by pressing both the in and out buttons simultaneously. Once the green light appears on the remote, it is activated and ready for use. The out button releases the rope, which can be pulled out of the ambulance ahead of time. Step number 3, assemble the ramp mount. Remove the mount from the cabinet found at the rear of the ambulance on the passenger side and place it onto the floor of the ambulance. Place 2 screws into the yellow mount to secure the mount onto the floor of the ambulance. Step number 4 is to attach the ramps to the mount. Unfold the 2 ramps pieces and attach them to the yellow floor mount by securing the end of the ramp onto the silver bar on the mount. Step number 5, attach the pram to the winch. There's a metal ring secured by a red cable within the basket of the pram where the hook from the winch attaches to. Important, wrap the bungee cord that hangs by the door around the hook bar. This prevents the hook bar from wedging in between the ramps. Remember, once in the ambulance, remove the bungee cord so that the pram will lock in. Line up the wheels of the pram to the ramps and lower the pram until the wheels make contact with the ramp. Using the remote, press the in button to get the winch cord pulled tightly with no slack. Step number 6, operating the winch with the pram. Have one person operate the remote and remain at the head of the stretcher. Have the other operate the foot of the stretcher. Press in on the remote, and as the pram proceeds up the ramp, have your partner lower the pram. Once all of the wheels of the pram are on the ramps, the pram should be at its lowest setting. As the pram enters the back of the ambulance, make sure you guide the pram as it will pull off to one side. Remember to take the bungee off. If you don't do this, it will likely snap the hook bar off since it is facing the wrong direction. Once the bungee cord is off, proceed to press the in button on the remote and guide the pram into the antlers and secure it with this sidebar. The ramps can be stored on both sides of the patient. When transporting, the ramp bars must be raised up to close the ambulance doors. All right, some general notes. Make sure you park the ambulance on level surface. Make sure you have enough space behind the ambulance so the ramps can be assembled. Make sure the ramps are perfectly parallel to each other. Keep constant tension on the rope in order to prevent a buildup of rope in the winch. If the remote fails, there's a backup remote that hooks to the back of the yellow box. If you use the manual mode on the winch, release the rope. Make sure that the patient is centered on the pram so that the pram remains level when on the ramps. Safety first, use the ramps and winch when the patient is over 350 pounds. Save your back. So just a real quick summary. Remember, Ambulance 2 is the heaviest. Ambulance 2 has the governor. It will not go over 75. If the air system is not engaged, Ambulance 2 will not travel over 45 miles an hour. The following have air ride systems: 2, 6, 14, and 15. Ambulances and fuel types. 2, 6, 7, 10, 14, and 15 are all diesel fuel. Ambulances 1, 3, 5, 8, 9, and 13 and 17 have unleaded fuel. Ambulance and child seat types. All child seats are for 20 to 40-pound patients. If you have any younger or smaller patients, ask if you can borrow their child seat or place mom on the pram holding the child and seat belt them together. Remember to do your car checks every day. Check your O2 tanks, check out your NARCs, fuel up. Nothing left on the bumper. Be safe out there. Use due regard. Return home safe. And remember, dispatch has your back.